true. All right, let's get to some more questions here.
Yes.
Here we go. This is an interesting one. What is the meaning of communion, and why are so many churches, Protestant, Catholic, Orthodox, out of communion with each other? If we are all Christians, it seems like we should be. Well, on the one hand, being in communion, I think of you meaning like we would cooperate, fellowship. We see each other as believers, we would work together in parachurch organizations and things like that. But you might mean, because between these, you might mean literally communion, like do they divide because of communion? And in that sense, you could actually say they're out of communion with each other because of their views on communion, right?
Yeah,
depending on the view, depending on the church.
In the same denomination, and if you are not a member of that particular local church.
Right here in Evansville, I never heard of it before. Yeah. I never heard of it before. But when we moved to Evansville, I never heard of, among Southern Baptists, closed communion.
Yeah.
Where even if you're a Southern Baptist, if you don't go to, if you're not a member of this local church, you can't take communion.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I think that is, well.
This is kind of in line with the previous question. Now, if you're talking about communion as in the Lord's Supper, that's a different conversation. But if you're talking about communing with one another and being in communion or out of communion, this is where I think apologetics outdoes all other fields of like academic Christianity, okay? Because apologetics, other than the cranky, not all, Eli, not all, most, cranky presuppositionalists, like apologists from all types of denominations and all types of other, except for Eli, methodologies, come together and get along. Until David Paulman starts a fight over something epistemological or whatever. But for the most part, I love you, David. You're awesome. But for the most part,
you can't complain.
Yeah,
you're snarky, and he's one of your students.
Yeah, I love David Paulman. I like it when he stirs up trouble because there's too much communion among. But apologetics is really that one discipline, and I would say maybe it's because I'm most familiar with, but maybe there's like the preaching conferences where a lot of different types of people can get together. But there are places, but I think apologetics is a very big tent fellowship of, people from all types of denominations that get along in communion with one another and sets, I think, a great example, except for most presuppositionalists, to the rest of the church.
That is true.